Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This week, I am doing the one, the only, Steven Seagal. He's an actor. He's an activist. He's a fighter. He's a lover. He's a partial god. This guy, there is so much to do on him. Is he a master of fighting or a Bullshido master? Let's start at the start. Aikido. Steven. Going to Japan. He claims he was a student underneath the founder of Aikido, Mohiro Ushiba. Problem here is that Steven didn't actually go to Japan till he was 22, and that guy was already dead. He makes various claims again that he was the first Western person to open up an Aikido gym.
He was legitimately the first American to run an Aikido dojo in Japan.
And that's actually quite believable because there's not that many people doing Aikido in the entire world, let alone many Westerners in Japan. When I was trying to find the history of like Aikido and who started and if it's legit, what I found was a lot of early 2000 web forums and everything, like essentially chat rooms, where a lot of Aikido people will also be very behind Steven Seagal because they kind of see him as legitimizing his sport. So you have to remember that a lot of the claims that you can find online are from these guys. And then a lot of the other stuff is from like magazines from the 90s, like Black Belt magazine and everything, which I just don't have. It's as good a place as any to actually go into Aikido. We know he's an Aikido master. Let's try and decipher this just a little bit to my understanding so that we are able to then say where he falls into it, rather than just throwing out general terms and then everyone debating the semantics. That's right, let's do semantics. And I've pretty much been able to break it down into four main distinct categories. We've got fighting, and that's the act of fighting. That's a very clear one of how useful it is. And you've got like the commercial aspect that will come with like running a gym and upkeep and needing people for memberships. You also get the philosophy side, and that's the philosophy, and you get actually the more sport focused side, and that's when there's the rules to fighting and engagement and what makes it a sport. Those are like the four main aspects that you see people fall into, and that's why when people are like martial artist, Bullshido, like people like to debate these points, but they all have different definitions. That's why I'm wanting to like really outline it here for you so that you're understanding why I'm saying he falls into a specific category. Some clear examples here for sports and fighting, like there's a bit of an overlap here. We could go for like Sean Strickland. He kind of just cares about winning and being a good fighter. At the same time, he is in the UFC and is going to abide by the rules and what works there. You've got more the philosophy one. So these are the ones that I feel like people who say that they're martial artists fall into. You've got people like George St. Pierre, and he says that there is a difference between a fighter and a martial artist. A fighter is training for a purpose. He has a fight. I'm a martial artist. I don't train for a fight. I train for myself. My goal is perfection, but I will never reach perfection. That really summarizes that sort of philosophy angle a lot better. Now, I was careful not to put like those fighters because I don't know them too well into the commercial aspect, but running a gym and actually earning money, like, it's just society, right?
We're living in a society.
Capitalism. We have to earn money, right? So there's nothing necessarily bad about being commercial or having a gym. Kind of do see the Detroit self-defense guy who...
Come here.
doesn't have any fighting capabilities, he doesn't have any sports focus, and he doesn't have any philosophy. He's commercial. He's just selling a product. So you'll hear people say that they're a fighter, that there's martial artists, but like Bullshido is essentially someone who's making the false claim art form that they're doing is effective in combat. Bullshido is the fake claims on the ability of the martial arts and its effectiveness on another person. I think we're done with semantics. Let's get back to the fun. What is Aikido? Aikido is essentially the jiu-jitsu, but without its offensive aspect. That's the main idea with it. So straight away, I'm kind of like, I don't know about this Aikido stuff. Yeah, it's not that effective. Do you see people using it in the UFC or in a one championship? No. Do you see people using yoga in one championship? No. Is yoga still a really good sport that you can do that can improve your life and help with philosophy? Yes, just like Aikido. So I'm going to say straight out the gate, biggest claim to being a fighter, which is like being good at Aikido, is bullshit. Here, let's watch some of his clips of when he was young and how he did in Aikido.
fighter.
Cool. Make up your own mind on Aikido. There's a lot of videos on it, but you're not going to find many videos of it actually being used in a combat situation. Steven actually does have some good philosophy advice that he throws out there, and I cannot hate on him for this.
This is my dad. Daddy, I'm doing a show with my father.
Call him Daddy?
Are there any martial arts moves that you could teach me that?
Can you run fast?
Yeah, very quick.
Let's just leave it at that then.
I wanted to talk about Steven and his claims of being a fighter. So we've seen his martial arts, where it came from, and we've seen that he's in a movie. Where does he go then to get credibility? Now he's a guy with no actual recorded fights, so straight away, yeah, might not be a fighter. But this does not mean that he hasn't beaten people up. There are numerous stories. Like, there are so many stories of people hanging out with Steven Seagal or seeing Steven beat up stuntmen. That's right. Steven's favorite opponents are people who are paid to take a beating.
He was hurting the stunt guys. Even off camera, do things like wrench their arms. He actually tore Nils's bicep for no reason.
But there is one man that we know for sure, who we know was like, I'm not taking this shit. Now this story is hated by Steven.
He is a pathological scumbag liar.
Gene LeBell is gone now, but we can see he has credible fights in his history. He was one of the first people to really pioneer MMA.
Steven had to do he would put him in a cobra choke. Then all of a sudden Steven said, and Gene's already got him in the cobra choke. He's just holding him gently, but he's behind Steven. So then he said, Seagal said, I never let anybody get behind me. And Gene, he's already holding him. He said, well, when I'm behind somebody, they're mine. And as soon as he said that, Seagal swatted down, hit him in the nuts, and as soon as he did that, Gene just cranked him with that three-finger grip, cross-faced him, and took him straight down to the ground and leaned on him. He didn't put him unconscious, he didn't put him in a sleeper hold, he didn't put him in a rear naked choke, he just did a neck lock crank on him. But when he did it, he went down so fast, and then he got up real quick and started dusting himself off because he was embarrassed.
Speaking of Gene LeBell also, Steven Seagal went on the MMA Hour and Ariel was talking with him. Didn't happen. What do you think about that?
But would you ever admit it, A? And B, I mean, obviously the guy's a liar. I mean, he told everybody he taught Anderson Silva that kick. I mean, seriously, the guy doesn't have a very good track record.
And the sheer naivety that he believed that he could just get out by punching someone in the balls. The part of the story I don't really believe, and you can even see Gene LeBell kind of just like smiling but doesn't really double down on it, is the part that Steven shit himself. The part that I do believe is the fact that he thought he could get out just by hitting someone in the balls, and then probably did get choked down, saw some stars, and that's about it. He essentially is always kept with the idea that he is the #1 fighter in the world, and no one can beat me.
Who's the most legitimate Hollywood tough guy, in your opinion? You accept it, of course. Michael Jai White?
Can I laugh in your face?
Really? Thoughts on Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Can I laugh in your face?
Randy Couture?
Randy's a real fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who are you? Girl Scouts of America? Here.
Let's go to the legit fighters. We've already had Ronda Rousey say she wants to beat up Steven Seagal. We have Chael Sonnen talking about Steven Seagal because mainly Steven said that he trained Anderson Silva.
Right before he walked out, I said, you know, fake low and come high and do that kick that I've been teaching you and kick him in the head or the face. And he did exactly what I said. And
he said he trained him with the most exquisite kick in the world. You know, if you remember at this time, Anderson Silva at this point, I think was already a champion and he's already a kickboxer and everything like that. And Steven was like, I taught him that front kick. A front kick. People, do you want to see Steven Seagal's front kick?
Johnson lined his ass up.
Wow. It's not exactly a rare kick, is it? Where he's showing how great he is in this demonstration. A lot of Steven's defenders will use this video saying, look how great he is. But I just want you to have a look at this. Just straight up. It's all bad. He just says kicks, but just, yes, it's a demonstration. I feel like it's kind of petty to pick on this and say that shows his fighting ability. What I'm trying to explain here is that he doesn't actually have any footwork going or anything ready. It's just a demonstration where he's just kicking and landing back in flat with a very small base. He's not ready to check. He's not ready to move. He's not base. There's just nothing there. It's because he's not a fighter and his sport is not fighting. He's a Bullshido master. Anderson actually has a video later on essentially mocking Steven.
I find a bullshit for you to do in the fight. Do your base.
They're just with you because he has paid those fighters to hang out with him.
You just interviewed the Honorable Sensei Seagal. Do you feel as though the sport is in a better place today than before he was involved?
That's Steven Seagal?
Yeah, Sensei Seagal.
Okay. Sensei Seagal, I don't think he's done that much for the sport.
Are you kidding?
For MMA.
We got DC. DC really wanted to hang out with Steven Seagal and do a video. That would have been so sick.
Supposed to train with Master Seagal tonight to show me that he believes will work against John Jones. So no one, no cameras.
But Steven wouldn't allow a video. And oh God, I want to see what happened behind the scenes with that one. Recently as well, because he's still there. He's still coming back. We had Alex Pereira actually do a video with Steven Seagal.
The reason why Anderson Silva and Leota did knock them out is because they did what I told them. They don't lift the knee. They're not going like this.
So you already bring it straight from the bottom.
Here. Stand strong.
Tem pra trás, tá vendo?
And you can tell too with some of the scenes, it was like, okay, Steven, let go of my wrist. Because this brings to our next famous move that Steven does. Steven Seagal's famous martial arts moves. We've already seen the kick. We've already heard about the ball hitting. But what about the wrist snapping?
Anytime like this, it's that down movement.
Yeah.
Anytime his fingers are anywhere, that's all I need.
Yep. Now, Steven Seagal's big move that I've seen now him do in multiple videos, he normally trains and tries to teach the UFC fighters this. I believe this is the move that he broke Sean Connery's wrist with.
You know, the principle is it's defense, so it's a pyramid, and I got a bit flash, and I did that, and he broke my wrist.
To give him their hand and everything, right? And then he gets their hand in the, again, he has to ask the person to give them the hand, get it in this certain position, and then he'll just try and snap your wrist. And people are like, whoa, ho, ho, stop, like, you're hurting my wrist. And he's like, that's the move. If I ask someone to let me get them in a certain position, like an armbar, at the very end of the armbar, I probably will land the armbar on them. The hard bit is getting to the armbar. I believe one of the other fighters also was like, yeah, don't let him grab your wrist. Because he tries to fucking snap your wrist even though you're a fighter and you got to fight on the weekend.
Seagal actually almost broke my wrist one time.
No way, how?
You can check it out.
What happened?
Put a little picture, you know, Seagal showed me this little death touch, you know, put me on notice.
Now there's one more move, sucker punch. Got ya. Ha, sucker punches. That's right. John Luke Gazamo's got this amazing story that he's got about Steven Seagal.
He taekwondo'd my ass against the brick wall. He's 6'5" and caught me off guard, knocked off.
I see now you're turning people against you because you're calling Steven Seagal all kinds of names.
But why'd he slam me against the wall?
Well, he shouldn't have done that, yeah.
We were rehearsing.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Yeah, but we don't need to...
That's really a 2-in-1. Steven loves the old sucker punch as well with picking on people who are smaller than him, which is pretty easy because he's like 6'3". He's a Bullshido master. He claims to be a super fighter and all this crap. We've got no records. Every fight that he does do is against someone who is paid against him not to hit back. The only time that someone does hit back, they choke him out. And then all the other times, he just sucker punches people, or quite literally is bullying people half his size. That's about as nice as I can be about Steven Seagal. So I hope you enjoyed my little ranting and raving about the one, the only, the Seagal man. I've been Jared Kane. I am Jared Kane. Thank you very much for watching my fight breakdown of Steven Seagal.